Angela. I'm going to lead you through an all levels class today. You might want to have handy blocks or eggs, whatever you prefer, if you prefer, and a strap or a belt from a robe or something that you can use to lengthen yourself when we're doing some of our stretches. And again, completely up to you whether you want to use these things. I'll just explain how and why we're using them sometimes, but if you don't have them, don't worry about it. So we're going to start today with a warm-up, feet hip distance apart, just stacking your joints. Ankles underneath our knees, knees underneath our hips, hips underneath our shoulders. And just take a moment, spread your toes, start to ground yourself. Maybe sway a little bit, rock on the feet, and then plant the feet down. And we're just going to draw up through the arches of the feet so we feel the legs lengthening, kind of like a tree trunk. And then we want to do upper zipper. So we want to draw in that Uddiyana Bandha, that space about 2 centimeters below our belly button to support our spine. We want to find a little bit of length right through the crown of the head. And then just gently draw shoulder blades down. So just finding our mountain pose. And just taking a few breaths here. Starting to notice our breath. Breathing in through nose, out through nose or mouth. Whatever feels best to you. Typically in yoga we breathe through the nose, but whatever feels good to you. And then whenever you're ready, starting to add movement with your breath. Inhale, we bring arms up. Exhale, we bring the arms down. So just flowing with your own perfect breath. Just starting to match movement with breath. Whatever that looks like to you. And then whenever you're ready, starting to add lower body. So we bend the knees, we tip a little bit from the hips. It becomes our flowing chair. So we really want to make sure that we engage our core here. We want to get that sensation of doing up a zipper from our navel to our ribs. That's going to support our spine, especially as we tip from the hip at any point in time. Again, just making sure we're not pushing knees forward. We're just setting the hips down and back. So we're just warming up big muscles, getting ready to flow. Just finding our breath, just allowing it to be. So this is one of those moves that if you want to continue with this, maybe warm up a little bit longer or incorporate this at any point in time in class, you can always come back to this. It's a nice flow. Basically, we're doing squats. But for now, let's finish out one more. And then just reaching up tall. Grow a little bit, create some space between the ribs. Draw shoulder blades down. And then we're going to draw the arms behind us, opening up front body. So just pretending like we're holding a ball behind us, drawing shoulders down, lifting up through the chin. Taking a few breaths here. And then just releasing. Maybe a couple shoulder rolls, both at the same time, one at a time, whatever feels good to you. And then we're going to find the top of our mat. And again, setting ourselves up for safety, so feet hip distance apart. Drawing shoulders down, finding our mountain pose. And then we're ready. Inhale, sweep up. Soften the knees. Exhale, we fold, finding our forward fold. So you can bring hands to thighs, you can bring hands to the shins, or we can just kind of hang here. We always want to make sure that the knees are bent at least a little bit. If we're feeling any pull in the low back, we want to bend the knees even more, maybe even rest on our thighs. We can release the head and neck here, maybe nod, shake. Take a few breaths. So it takes a little bit of time for our hamstrings and our brain to kind of talk to each other. For the hamstrings to tell the brain, hey, we're trying to stretch here, because what the brain wants to do is tell them to contract to protect themselves. So just breathe through that. Just a few more breaths here. In through nose, out through nose if you can. And then with our next inhale, we're going to soften the knees. Fingertips come down. Exhale, the right leg steps to the back of our mat. We're going to release the knee on top of the foot. This heel's going to be on the floor, ankle underneath our knee. And we're going to start to lower the hips. So getting a stretch in our hip flexor, drawing shoulders down, creating some space. And this is where you can add the edge of the blocks to give you a little bit of lift here, create a little more space for that breath. We can also just bring the hands up to the knee, maybe sink a little bit more. And we can also bring the arms up by the face or even bring palms to heart center. So yogi's choice. And then on an inhale, we're going to bring our hand to our knee, other hand to the floor, and exhale, we're just going to twist towards that knee. So we can lift the arm up. We can also bring it to the low back, kind of wrap it around, still making sure that this knee is over top of the ankle. Take a few breaths here. And then on the inhale, we come back to center. We're going to curl our toes, exhale to downward facing dog. So we spread the fingers, we push against the floor, lengthen the back, press the heels down. So arms are strong, but elbows are soft, fingers are strong. Maybe we bend the knees. So we're stretching the whole back body. And maybe we bend the knees a little bit more. We can pedal the feet here if that feels good. That's called walking our dog. Be stretching out the feet, stretching out the toes a little bit. And then just coming back to stillness if we've added that movement. With our next inhale, we're going to lower to the knees. Exhale to what I call resting pose. Some instructors call it child's pose. So we can sink right back onto the heels. We can also tuck the hands in here. Make this yours. This is resting pose. So you want to be comfortable, and you can come here anytime you need to. Rest and come back to the flow. We can also come to puppy dog pose. It's a little higher up for taking care of knees or hips today. So yogi's choice. And then we're going to lift up. We're going to find a tabletop position. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Just getting a little bit more movement in the spine. So inhale, we're going to arch. We're going to open up into our cow pose. And then exhale, we're going to tuck in the chin, separate shoulder blades, lifting up through the low back, and then just flowing this with your own perfect breath. So just creating space wherever you can. It's kind of the essence of yoga. Creating space where we didn't have space before. Maybe finding movement where we didn't have movement before. That's sometimes what we use the yoga postures for. If our wrists get cranky, we can also make fists for wrists as an option, taking the pressure off the wrist joint. You can stay here, of course, as long as you like. We're going to finish out one more of each. And then just make our way back to resting pose, sinking back towards those heels. Take a breath or two. We're going to keep the arms extended. Spread the fingers, shift forward. Let's come through our kneeling plank. Tuck the elbows in close. We're going to lower all the way down. We want to find a little bit of length in the back before we have a little tiny lift. So just warming up the low back, just gazing forward. And then inhale, release, curl toes. Exhale to downward facing dog. Just taking a breath or two here. And then just taking our gaze forward, we're going to pick up the right leg, sweep it through, find our lunge on this side, making sure the knee is over top of the ankle. We're going to drop the hips, create some space. Again, we can lift with blocks or eggs. We can come up wherever we like. Creating space, drawing shoulders down wherever we are. Breathing here. Breathing into that hip. And then with our inhale, hand finds the floor. Other hand starts on the knee. We start to open up as we exhale, twisting here. Maybe the arm lifts up. Maybe we bring the arm to the low back. Taking a few breaths here to kind of wring it out. And then inhale back to center. We're going to curl the toes. Exhale forward, feet hip distance, finding that forward fold again. And then we're going to soften the knees, brace hard, protect the back. We're going to swan dive all the way up and find our chair. Palms going to be at heart center to start. So again, making sure we've done up that zipper. We're bracing, supporting our spine. So we're going to move a little quicker, a few sun salutations to just make sure we get nice and warm. So with our exhale, we're going to fold. Soften knees, fingertips come down, right leg's going to step back. We're going to find that long low lunge. So we're squeezing thigh, pressing through the heel. And then with our exhale, we're going to find our plank on the toes or on the knees. We lower, find some length, maybe a little bigger cobra this time, drawing shoulders down, lifting up through the chin. Inhaling to release, exhaling to push. Taking our gaze forward as we exhale, right leg steps through, finding our low lunge on this side, strong left leg. Next exhale, we step forward, feet hip distance apart. Softening knees, we brace, reverse swan dive all the way up, finding our chair. And maybe our arms stay long, maybe they come down like this, or maybe we keep them tucked in. Next exhale, we fold. Soften knees, fingertips come down this time, the left leg steps back, long low lunge. Exhale, plank. Again, knees or toes, we brace, tuck the elbows in. We lower, we find length, maybe cobra or maybe upward facing dog. Inhale, you can release to the floor if you like. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. Taking our gaze forward as we exhale, left leg steps up and through. Finding that low lunge, lowering the hip, strong leg, squeeze thigh. Exhale, step forward. Brace, soften the knees, reverse all the way up. Palms come together and heart center. So if you want to keep going with those sun salutations, you can just keep doing that flow. You can do it for as long as you like. It's a nice flow. It can be a little bit athletic, especially if you do it, 36 times or 108 times, whatever you want to do. But that's enough for now. If you want to continue, you can pause, jump back in. Otherwise, we're going to go from our chair. We're going to use our exhale to fold. We're going to soften our knees. Fingertips come down. The right leg steps back. A little shorter stance. We're coming up to our high lunge. So arms can be up. They can be at heart center. They can be on hips. We want that back heel lifted. We want the feet nice and strong. You can change your stance if you need to make sure you feel stable like I'm doing. And then we want to sink. So we're actively engaging the legs. We're doing up that zipper, shoulders draw down, eye gaze forward, just breathe. Breathe, feel the strength in your legs, feel the strength in your feet. Feel the length in your spine. And then we're gonna step in, feet hip distance, find our chair, lower the hips. Use our next exhale to fold. Soften knees, fingertips come down, then the left leg steps back. We're gonna find our high lunge on that side. So same thing, feet about hip distance apart for stability. We can get a little wider if we like, we can get narrower, making sure we're stable, we're grounded in the feet. We're nice and strong in that core, draw shoulders down, palms at heart, hands on hips, arms up, whatever we like. Take a few breaths here, drawing shoulders down. Maybe we sink a little bit. And again, this is something else you can flow as long as you like. So with an exhale, we're gonna step into that chair. We're gonna fold as we exhale, soften knees, right leg steps back, finding our lunge. Sink, breathe. Next exhale, we step in. Next exhale, we fold, softening knees, fingertips down, left leg steps back. We find our lunge, we sink, we breathe, we create space. Exhale, we step in. Next exhale, we fold, soften knees, right leg back, finding our lunge. Just flowing this, sinking as much as we can. Strong legs, strong feet, strong core. We step into our chair, we fold, soften knees, fingertips down, left leg back, last time. And of course, if you want to pause and keep going, feel free. We sink, we brace. Exhale, we step into our chair. Next exhale, we fold. Let's take a pause there. Breathe. We can release head and neck. We can bend knees a little bit more if we need to. Big inhale through nose, maybe exhale through mouth. And then this time we're going to soften our knees. Fingertips come down. The right leg's going to step back. We're going to drop that back heel down, and the heels line up with each other or close to it. And then we're going to brace and draw up to warrior one. So once you get up there, you're not stuck where you've landed. So if you want to change the angle of your foot, how far that foot went, get a nice wide base, maybe a narrower base, it's up to you. You want to be comfortable, but you want to feel strong and a little bit challenged. So the left leg is the working leg. You want to bend that knee, look for the big toe past the inside of the knee. And then the other leg is long and strong. So you want to squeeze that glute, press down even in the pinky edge of the foot down here. And then shoulders just turn as far as our body lets them. Don't force it. Palms can be at heart. Arms can be up. Sink if you can. Breathe here, breathe into it. Check in with that stabilizing leg. Press it down, squeeze that glute. Let's take a few breaths here. Palms are together. Let's gently press them. Start to actively engage upper body. Breathe through nose if you can. And then with our next exhale, we're just going to turn the shoulders, find warrior two. Good, we can always adjust. Maybe we get lower. Maybe it's time to take that leg a little bit further back so we can sink. Always making sure we maintain that belly brace to support our spine. There's almost a little bit of a pelvic tilt here, so we can sink in the legs without compromising the back. I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but we want to make sure we're not arching the back. Arms are strong, looking to the front. Strong warrior two. Option, shoulders get cranky. Palms can always come to heart center. Let's take a few breaths here. Always checking in. Check in with that stabilizing leg. And then with the next inhale, we're going to slide forward, engaging obliques. Let's start with the forearm resting on the leg. We can lift the arm up. We can reach past the ear, getting a little stretch in the ribs. Or we can bring the arm to the low back, again, if we're taking care of our shoulder. And then we sink a little bit if we can. So we can stay right here. This is a twist. So we want to squeeze those ribs and open up. Now here we can also use a block or an egg, turned either direction to give us a little bit of lift. Or if we can stay open and stay twisted, we can find the floor. So we listen to our body here. Strong feet, strong legs, one more breath. And then use your next exhale to brace, draw up to warrior two. Good job. Just take a breath or two here. And then with our next inhale, we're going to windmill. Find the floor. Exhale to down dog. Feel free to stay right here. Feel free to come to resting pose. Otherwise, strong hands. We're going to shift forward, find our plank. We're going to tuck the elbows. We're going to lower, find length, find our back bend, cobra, or up dog, or nothing at all. Inhale, perhaps we release before we push, or perhaps we just push right with the exhale. So we're going to do that all on side two. Let's take our gaze forward. Right leg steps up and through. Dropping that heel down, kind of lining the heels up for stability, and then drawing ourselves up. Find your warrior one. I'm just going to turn. It's easier to see you. So take a moment to set it up. Right knee's bent. We look past the inside of the knee for that big toe. We start to sink. Stabilizing leg. We want to squeeze that glute, squeeze that thigh, press that foot down. It should almost feel like you're kind of pulling the mat apart in the middle. And then shoulders just turn, just as far as our body allows them, never forcing. Palms at heart, arms can be up, whatever feels good. Sink if you can. Breathe here. See where you can create some space. Notice where the breath goes. Jaw's soft, cheekbones are soft. Maybe we sink a little bit more. Another breath or two. And then using an exhale, turning shoulders, finding warrior two. Making any shifts. Shifts happen in yoga. Maybe we sink. Maybe we pull back a little bit for a breath or two. Listen to your body. Check in, supporting leg, both feet strong, it's the foundation of your house. Right? And then just gazing over, front fingers. Palms can tuck in, shoulders get cranky. Allow the breath to flow here. Feel the strength in your legs supporting you. And then with our next inhale, we shift forward. Forearm comes down, we can open up, we can reach. We're going to wrap around, sink if we can. We have this tendency, as soon as we lean on that leg, that we start to pull back a little bit. So if you want to challenge yourself, make sure you stay low. And again, this is a twist. We want to squeeze the rib cage, open up, create space, so that when you lift your arm or you wrap your arm, your shoulders are stacked over each other. And then just breathe into that space you've created. Again, we can use a block, an egg, we can reach towards the floor, as long as we can stay open. Breathe. Bracing our core. Nice big breaths here. Brace a little harder. Use your exhale to draw yourself back up to warrior two. Just check in. Take a breath or two here. And then on an inhale, we're going to windmill. Find the floor. Exhale. Find downward facing dog. And again, you can stay right here, finding some length, enjoying being upside down. You can walk your dog if you like, or spread fingers, shift forward to plank. We tuck the elbows, lower, lengthen, opening up, creating space. Inhale, exhale to push. 2 more times if you like, flowing that. Inhale, we shift forward, bracing, legs strong, tucking, lengthening, opening. Inhaling and exhaling. 1 more time, shifting forward. We lower, elbows in close, lengthen, open up, create space in the throat. Inhale, exhale. Pause there. Take a few breaths, maybe nod and shake, release the head, heads between the arms. Arms are strong, elbows are soft as always. Good. And then taking our gaze forward, we're going to pick up the left leg, sweep it through, drop that heel down. We're going to find warrior two. And again, I'm just going to turn, it's easier to see you guys. Setting up that left leg, right leg's long and strong, supportive. Shoulders over top of our hips, arms nice and strong. Breathe. Just take a couple breaths here. So we're just setting up our base. Strong feet, strong legs, strong core. And then we're going to straighten the left leg. We're going to shift forward. And we're going to tip, kind of like a teapot, to our triangle. So hand below the knee, above the knee. Or again, we can come to a block, or an egg, or to the floor. Again, this is a twist. So we want to squeeze the ribs a little bit and see if we can open up And get that shoulder stacked over top. Good, one more breath. And then brace, use an exhale to draw yourself up. Hands are gonna come to hips. We're just gonna take the right leg in a little bit. We're gonna shorten that stance. We're gonna turn the shoulders and use an exhale to just fold over this leg. So pyramid pose. Breathe here. And again, that knee joint is soft. It's not locked. Hands can be above or below. Again, this is where we can find a block or an egg for a little bit of lift. Maybe keeping a nice flat back and then really breathing into the back of that leg. Couple big breaths here. If we have a block or an egg, just moving it out of the way, starting to soften that knee, pulling ourselves up. We're going to end up in our short stance, warrior one. And just checking in with the feet, breathing here. And then bringing hands to waist. We're just going to turn the feet. So we're going to come to the long edge of our mat. And the feet are about 45-ish degrees. You want to get nice and wide here. So kind of like a horse stance. And we're just going to find our sunflower flow. So inhale, we sweep up. Exhale, we bend the knees. We brace, we're tipping forward from the hip a little bit. Just flow this with your own breath. Creating space. And again, this is one of those places where if you want to pause and keep doing this a little bit longer, feel free. Right now we're going to change it to moonflowers. So we're a little stronger in the upper body, tucking the elbows in, just letting the breath flow. Noticing muscles in the back, muscles in the chest. Let's take the next one down and hold. So arms nice and wide, coming over to our goddess pose. So we want to make sure the knees aren't coming forward and caving in. We want to maybe even move the heels, press the pinky edge of the feet down so we can sink. There's a little bit of a pelvic tilt here. We do that zipper up to stabilize our spine. Very strong, us goddesses. If shoulders get cranky, palms come to heart. Feel the energy, feel the heat there. Or hands can also come to our thighs. Maybe we sink a little bit. 3 more breaths, wherever we are. And then after a 3rd breath, we use an exhale to push up to star. And then we're just going to turn the feet and find our warrior 2 on the other side. Okay, so make shifts, make adjustments, look for that big toe, bend our knee. Back leg is long and strong, shoulders over hips to start. Just setting up. And then we're going to straighten the leg. We're going to shift forward. And then we're going to tip. So this hand can stay on our hip. It can come to our low back. We can reach up. This hand above or below the knee. If we have to lean forward like this, we want to make sure we pull up a little bit and back off so that we can get that nice twist and that opening in the shoulder, keeping the back safe. If we start to lean forward like this, like I'm doing right now, especially if we come to the floor, like I'm doing right now, I'm putting a lot of pressure on my hamstring and I'm putting a lot of pressure on my back. It doesn't really feel the nicest, and I'm not really getting the best benefit of this pose. So instead I want to pull back, quality, right? Maybe lift up a little bit higher so I save my hamstring, I save my back, and I create that space that this pose is meant to create. Brace with our next exhale, we draw up. We're just going to turn. We're going to bring that leg in a little bit short in our stance, and then we're going to fold, coming to our pyramid pose. So again, this leg is very long and strong, but the knee is soft, never locking joints. Hands on the shin, hands on the thigh, above or below, to a block or an egg, to the floor. Always listening to our body, listen to your hamstrings. Let the breath flow here, breathing into the back of that leg. Bracing, supporting our spine, neck is long. Nice breaths. Good, and then just finishing a breath here, we start to soften the knee. We drop to our short stance, warrior 1. Just checking in with the feet, checking in with the legs, checking in with upper body. Arms can be extended as well, your choice. And And then just bringing hands to hips. We're going to turn those feet again about 45 degrees, finding that horse stance. And this time we're going to change our flow a little bit. So just bring your palms to heart center. We're going to sink. Good, same thing. So we want to make sure the knees aren't coming in. We want to pull the knees back. Maybe we turn the heels in, press the pinky edge of the foot down. Brace. Good, inhale, press up. Exhale, we shift to one side. Inhale. Exhale. Don't get hung up on when to inhale and exhale. The point is you want to follow and flow your breath, or flow with your breath. I talk a lot about when to inhale and when to exhale, and it's more just a reminder to remember to breathe. Trying to just move with our breath, our own pace, our own perfect flow and breath. So this is another place. You can pause. You can keep doing this a little bit longer if you like. Join back in whenever you feel you're done with it. For now, we're just going to do one more to each side. And then just make our way to the middle. Pausing there when we get there. Breathing there. Maybe finding our goddess pose with the arms open. Using an exhale to push up to 5-pointed star. Maybe we sparkle, we shine our light. Now we let the hands float down by our side. So we're just gonna scooch the feet in or walk the feet in. We're gonna do a little bit of balancing. So feet about hip distance apart, hands wherever you like to start. I tend to start with mine on the hips. They migrate to other places. So feel free to put them wherever you're comfortable with them. If we need a little more stability, arms go wider. We redistribute our weight. So shifting our weight to one foot, doesn't matter which, we're gonna do both sides. And as always, you can have a light touch with the floor. Anytime you need to, you can come here. We can pick the knee up and just stay here anytime you need to. Otherwise, we're just gonna cross the ankle and the knee and just let this knee drift open. I'm gonna migrate my hands to my heart center here. They can also extend up at any point in time. I'm just gonna keep mine here for simplicity today. And then we really wanna brace. We're gonna tip from the hip, come to our chair, so we're in standing pigeon. Breathe, and it helps to find a spot to stare at that's not moving. It's called our dristi, our focal point. And balance comes from our core, so we really want to make sure we have that core stabilized. We've engaged our Uddiyana Bandha, or we've done that zipper up, however you want to refer to it. Breathe. If we're pressing palms together, start to notice them pressing. Notice the heat, notice the energy, notice the upper body. Letting the breath just flow. Let's finish another breath here. And then come up tall. Release the arms. Shake out the ankle and foot if you need to. We're gonna do the exact same thing on the other side. So creating our base, we wanna spread the toes, we wanna grow some roots. Hands wherever we like to start. Doing our zipper up. Light touch if we need to, but still balancing. Knee, staying here if we like, that's still balancing. You can see my ankle's getting shaky. Ankle, we can open up. Palms at heart, arms open wide, arms nice and long. Wherever we are, we start to tip from the hip if we're ready. Again, bracing, supporting our spine. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Finding our spot to stare at, our focal point. Maybe we sink a little bit. Just another breath or two here. And then we come up to standing. We release leg, we release arms. Shake out ankle and foot if we need to. And then just find the top of our mat. So we're gonna make our way down to the floor. Feet hip distance apart. Find our mountain pose. Pause there for a few breaths. Check in. Maybe a few sighs. Whenever you're ready, inhale, sweep arms up. Exhale, swan dive. Bracing, keeping these soft, finding our forward fold. I almost hit the wall there, so it might have looked a little wonky. And then we're gonna soften our knees. Fingertips come down, just walk back to downward facing dog. Spreading fingers, let's push against the floor, lengthen the spine. Press heels down, they may or may not touch the floor. stretching the whole back body. Maybe we bend the knees a little bit. We can bring ribs closer to our thighs. Just see if that shift makes a difference in our stretch. And then spreading fingers, pressing those palms down, shifting forward to our plank. We tuck the elbows, lowering, finding our back bend. So it can be a low cobra, it can be a higher cobra. We can come to upward facing dog, sphinx, no back bend at all. 3 breaths if we can. Making sure we're not dropping into the shoulders. We want to push and open up and create space. Use your inhale to release and exhale to find resting pose or puppy dog pose. We can stay up here if we like, keeping the knees and the hips a little bit safer. Or we can go all the way back. Yogi's choice. We can tuck the arms in if shoulders are tired. We can stack the hands or fists. I like to come to the elbows and bring the hands behind the head in a prayer position. Maybe we rock side to side. Maybe we rock the forehead. Maybe we take the knees a little bit wider. Make it yours. It's your rest. And then just breathe into the back. You feel the rib cage expand as we take in that breath and then contract, and maybe we soften a little bit. 1 or 2 more big breaths here. And again, you can pause here and stay here as long as you like. But then we're going to lift ourselves up, and we're just going to scooch our feet out in front. So legs are nice and long. We want to find our sits bones, adjust clothing as needed. And this is where you might want to use a strap. I like the strap. I find it makes the stretch, 1, safer for my back, and 2, it allows me to get deeper into the stretch, actually. I'm just undoing a loop that I had in here that I forgot to undo. So we want to find our sits bones, and then we want to extend the legs without locking the knee joint. So heels are going to rest on the floor. We flex the feet a little bit, but we want to make sure that the heels stay on the floor and the knees a little bit soft. We want to find that space just below the belly button, draw it in. Notice you automatically get taller. And then we just want to find our strap. We want to bring it around the bottoms of the feet, but we want to make sure it's a little bit higher up towards the balls of the feet, so we keep the bottoms of the feet safe. There's lots of nerve endings there, and we just don't want to cause any damage to them. So sitting in this nice upright, spine supported position, we inhale, always moving as we exhale. We start to walk our hands down the strap or the belt, whatever you've got, maintaining a nice long back. And by doing that, you're going to start to feel stretch in the back of the leg, which is where it's meant to be felt here. So if we start to round the back, if we start to fold too quickly, the hamstrings can get angry with us. And if we start to round the back, we start to feel more pressure in the back and maybe not as much stretch in the legs. So I like to keep the spine nice and lifted right up through the crown of the head. And then again, the brain and the hamstrings talk to each other, and with an exhale, maybe we start to fold a little more deeply, and maybe we just hang out here. And if we have to pull back, we always listen to our body. We pull back as needed. Just let the breath help you move into space, help you come out of space. Just let it flow. Just make sure we're not holding breath. So keeping the back long, using exhales to come forward. Let's take another breath here. And we're going to start to ease off. And we're just going to put that strap off to the side. Bottoms of the feet come together. And our butterfly or cobbler's pose. And typically not bringing the feet in any more than the length of our actual feet, just keeping our knees safe. Now, if we have tight adductors, inner thighs, you can use the edge of the blocks to give us a little bit of lift so we're more comfortable here. I'll leave that up to you. And again, we want to draw in, we want to support our spine here. We want to lift up, holding onto ankles, big toe lock, just making sure we don't have a strong grip on the feet. Again, we want to keep the feet safe. We just, if we like, on an exhale, start to fold, keeping the back nice and long. And you'll notice that you start to feel that stretch in the adductors. You might feel a little bit in the abductors, maybe even in the glutes. We're all kind of different, depending on where we're holding tightness. Breathe. Shoulders stay down. Back stays nice and long. And again, using exhales to fold a little deeper. Just flowing with our breath. This is also another place where we can bring blocks or eggs to rest the hands on, especially if we want to keep the back nice and long. We can stack them to rest our hands on. As we get into the stretch, if we start to get a little more flexible, we can maybe even rest our head on them. I like to turn them, I like the eggs for this. We turn them this way and we can rest our forehead. So just taking a couple more breaths here. And then bracing, gently drawing ourselves back up tall. We can move our eggs or blocks out of the way if we use them. And then just bending the knees. Hands come underneath the knee crease to allow ourselves to safely roll down to a position where we have our back on the floor and our knees are bent. So this is constructive rest. And anytime we're in a supine position, you can come here to just kind of hang out. You can windshield wipe if you like here. It feels really nice on the back and maybe even the hips a little bit. So this is kind of your go-to pose for rest when we're lying on our back. Coming to stillness if we added that movement. And then just coming to bridge, we're going to walk the feet a little bit closer. So our ankles are kind of sort of about underneath our knees, again, stacking the joints to keep them safe. Feet about hip distance apart, palms down by our side. Let's take a nice big inhale and use the exhale to push against the floor, moving away from gravity. So rolling chest towards the chin, pressing both feet down, all the toes, outer edge, inner edge of the foot, and heel, and we want to lift. We're engaging posterior chain here. So there might be a little bit of a squeeze to the glutes. Take a few breaths. And then gently lower down. So if you like, you can also do this pose with a block or egg or even a core ball or a small ball between your legs, so we actually engage Mula Bandha or pelvic floor. So it helps to engage those muscles that strengthens or controls the flow of urine, so eventually we don't have to wear adult diapers. And that's, we don't want to do that. So I always encourage that. It also helps us engage our inner thighs a little bit, our adductors. So same positioning, we use that exhale to lift, push against the floor. And you notice when you have something there to press on, you have a little more active engagement in the inner thighs. We do engage the pelvic floor. And then we engage posterior chain. And maybe we interlace the hands beneath us and kind of rock to the back edge of the shoulders, creating a little more space. Again, pressing both feet evenly, firmly, just looking at the ceiling. Don't worry about me, I talk you through this. One more big breath here. And then take your time, gently, slowly release yourself down, removing anything that we put between our legs. And then just hug the knees into the chest. Feel free to rock side to side. We can make some circles with the knees, going both directions. And then we're just going to come to one more stretch before final relaxation. So we're going to place the left foot on the floor. We're going to cross the right ankle on the knee and just gently push the knee away from us, kind of like we're opening a gate. And if that's enough of a stretch for your hip, I encourage you to just stay here and breathe. If you want a little deeper stretch, you can pull up the left leg, hands come between the window and around the outside to hold on to the back of the leg. Reclined pigeon. And then just breathe here, breathe into the hip. If you want to add a little bit of rocking here, it sometimes feels nice and soothing. So to deepen this stretch, again, we use an exhale. We take our time, and maybe we draw that knee in a little bit closer, knowing we can always pull back if we need to. Jaw is soft. Maybe we close the eyes here. Finishing a breath. And then if we lifted the left leg, gently placing it back down, releasing the right, just changing sides. One side might feel different than the other, depends on the hip. So we can just gently push that knee away from us, never forcing, just kind of like we're opening maybe a rusty gate. We can lift up the right leg this time, hands on the back of the leg. We can always add rocking, drawing in with exhales to deepen that stretch. Breathe. Just let the breath flow. Maybe the exhale starts to lengthen, telling our bodies it's time to relax, to rest and digest. Finishing a breath here. The right leg's lifted, placing it on the floor. Letting the left foot come down, hands by our side, and then if we like, just some windshield wipes, just to release the low back, the hips, re-engage with our breath. And then moving into final relaxation. So in final relaxation, we can stay in constructive rest. We can take the feet to the outer edges of our mat and let the knees rest against each other, kind of like we're knock-kneed. That's going to take pressure off the low back if we have any back problems. Traditional final relaxation, we send the legs out long, the arms are out, palms can be up, palms can be down if that's more comfortable to you. It's all about personal preference and comfort and safety. So that again, you can pause, maybe set a timer, stay here as long as you like, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour. Wouldn't that be delicious? And just find your breath. If you want to put on some soft music, feel free. Inhale, we want to find that breath to the low part of our belly, and then exhale, release. And as we inhale, we find expansion. Maybe send the breath to places where we need it. Show our body a little extra love. And then with the exhale, softening, releasing, sinking into the floor, letting the mat hold you, letting Mother Earth hold you. Noticing where we're holding any tension, and with the exhale, just try to release it and let it go. So kind of let your feet fall away from each other, let your fingers just curl in towards each other, let your head rest heavy on the mat, on the floor, supported by Mother Earth. You can close the eyes here or keep them open, whatever you're comfortable with. And then just breathe. And again, finding expansion, and then softening. Perhaps we count the breath, counting the inhale, counting the exhale, making the exhale start to be a little bit longer than the inhale. That tells our brain that we're ready to rest and digest. So here's where you can hit pause if you like, set your own timer, or just hang out here as long as you like. For now, we're gonna hug our knees in towards our chest or come to constructive rest, whatever you prefer. Rock in either of those places. It's kind of like getting a massage. And then rolling onto one side. It doesn't really matter which side. We want to rest our head on our arms so we're supported. And then the top arm can just rest on our body or can be on the floor in front of us. And just take a few breaths here. So however long we spent in final relaxation, we don't want to undo all that goodness, that delicious breath that we got and that relaxation that we got and the digestion that's going on. So we want to keep our movements soft and slow as we start to come out of it. We want to be kind and loving to ourselves. We just did a good thing. And again, you can stay here as long as you like. For now, we're going to use our top arm. We're going to push ourselves up and kind of roll ourselves, keeping our back safe as we come up to whatever seated position is comfortable to you right now. Finding our sits bones and then just drawing in, again, supporting our spine, Uddiyana Bandha, drawing shoulders down. Hands can be on the knees. If you feel like you need a little more energy right now, we sit with palms up and open to receive it. And if you feel like you need a little less, you just turn the palms down. Let's take 3 breaths. Inhaling through nose, exhaling through mouth. I call those let go breaths. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Last one. Let's bring our palms together at our heart center. Let's take a moment to feel gratitude for what we've done for ourselves just now, our ability to do it, and this time spent with each other. The light and love in me shines the light and love in each and every one of you. Namaste. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day and love you guys.